Welcome to Referee's Corner right here on Islandstats.com. I'm your host, Earl Baston, and joining me today is, I would call him a veteran referee, Anthony Francis. Recently, Mr. Francis, the Bermuda Football Association hosted a youth referees course.
Yes.
You had upward of 30 youngsters taking part. Tell us a bit about what the aim and goal was for the youth referee course.
Over the years, Earl, we've been trying to, with our youth referees, just get them a knowledge of the basics of the game. As you know, our youth football has grown tremendously. What we've tried to do over the years is that we used to send senior referees. What we've decided to do over the past couple of years is send youth referees to do youth football, which actually gets them involved in, because they'll referee and then play. So it actually keeps them close to the game. So what the youth referee course is, it gives them the basics of the laws of the game. We teach it to them over a 4-hour period just to get them excited about refereeing. And so the last course, our most recent course, yes, had 32 young people. Top age was 16. Youngest was 11. And their engagement and their discipline for the 4 hours that we were here was absolutely amazing.
We always know, and we were kids once.
Yes.
So when something new comes around, and I would say new, refereeing to some of these kids is new, because they like to give the referee a hard time when they're playing. But what are some of the things they were asking about now playing a different role?
Well, it is exciting because most of them play football. So now when you're giving them the laws of the game, they're coming up with, oh, so that's why the referee made that decision. Or how do I use this law now to make my football better? So what we're getting is we're getting those intelligent questions about football. We're giving them football knowledge, and as players, they're now beginning to understand why the referee does some of the things that a referee does.
Did you get a sense that most of them were willing participants and wanted to engage?
Without a doubt. There is no way I get 32 young people on their vacation, because they were out of school, to come here and engage with me for 4 hours if they didn't want to be here. And I can say down to the person, they wanted to be here and they engaged me, which is always fun.
Right.
And one of the benefits is that when we went out on the field, you could see that they had learned something.
Right.
Because I was giving them questions and they were giving me the responses.
Right, I was here during that time, and I was going to actually allude to that, because there were a few questions where you were throwing out there, and they were kind of trick questions, but it made them think.
Yes.
And the good thing was that they were engaged and correcting each other when when they thought it was the wrong answer and so forth. But keeping them involved at that magnitude, as far as having fun doing it, because they all love playing the game. Officiating is a tough thing.
Yes, it is.
It is a tough thing, because as we always often talk, half of the people don't like the decision you made, even if they know it's the right decision. They don't like it because it goes against them.
Right.
So keeping these youngsters engaged, how do you guys plan to make sure that they stay, that the game remains fun for them, even as officials?
What our youth committee has done, and in fact our girls and ladies and women's committee have done, is they've made the game fun. At senior level it is a little tougher, but what we've done is we've decided that let's let them have fun as youth officials on youth games. So it's real easy to do an under 5 game, because the little kids simply just want to play.
Yeah, they just walk to the ball.
And so what we do is, for our younger officials, we let them do those youth games where literally all they have to do is run around with people smaller than them.
Right.
Because what we think of for youth referees is refereeing develops character. It develops integrity. It develops a sense of discipline. This is not about getting it right all the time. This is not about you're going to be cried down because you made a wrong decision. This is about go out there and enjoy yourself being an official right before you go back and play. So we're trying to combine all of them. And our president came in and gave them gave them a preamble about, well, how many people actually become professional football players? 1%. So in that room, he actually stood one of them up and said, half of that person becomes a professional football player. There are 65,000 professional referees in the world. So now their eyes begin to think, well, hold on. And I tell them, listen, I've refereed in over 15 different countries. I was never good enough to play football, but I have refereed internationally. I've refereed some of the players that you watch on TV. Now their eyes are beginning to light up. Our FIFA assistant came in, Tashan, at the end and gave them a little bit of what he's done in his single year as a FIFA official. And you can see the light starting to go on. Oh, hold on. What? I could do that? I could do that? I could do that? When you tell them where refereeing can take them, not only do they have, because what we're trying to do is provide choices. If you're good enough to play football, play football. However, there's going to come a stage where football is not going, you're going to realize football is not going to be your be-all. But anybody can be a referee. And you should hear them. I watched them the next day. And you could see that they had learned something and were still enjoying it because they were still talking referee. They had stopped talking football and now they're talking referee. And for an official for over 30 years, watching our young people start to realize that refereeing is more than being the guy in the middle that gets it wrong every day. There's some fun to it. And I think that they enjoyed that. And we will continue as the Bermuda Football Association and the Referees Committee, Youth Committee, and Women's and Girls Committee is keep them involved. We had two very young ladies here who got engaged. We want to see our young girls actually refereeing our young women. Those are the things that we're trying to develop as we put together the future of refereeing.
When you look back, because what the Referees Committee has been doing over the last few years is getting a lot of young people involved, which was not the norm 10 years ago.
That is correct.
Where do you see the future in that?
I think Bermuda refereeing is on a good footing right now. Our biggest challenge, Earl, is how do we keep them in those gap years? And for a referee, the gap years are 17 to 22. How do we keep them? Because most of them literally are going to go off to university. They're going to go off, they're either going to play university or they're going to go academically for university. We're trying, as the referee committee is, to keep track of them so that we can actually get to their universities and say, hey, look, can you get them to do referee a couple of things? Just to keep them involved because we don't want to lose them. And the gap that we have to accomplish is 5 years. And it's only 5 years to get them because I looked around the room, there were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them that could actually be good enough to become FIFA referees. At that age. Unfortunately, I can't get them there until they're 21, 22. So how do we keep them? I think how we keep them is, one, we keep supporting them. We keep supporting them, we keep giving them the opportunity to referee and play. I don't think we should ever take away the opportunity for them to play because we want them to be engaged in the fun part. But getting them to referee and play, then they'll begin to develop a love for the sport, the game of football, the whole game. And it's going to make our domestic football, both male and female, better because our young people know how to play, quality coaching, and they know how to referee, quality refereeing. That is the game of football. So I think that if we can keep supporting them, if their parents can keep supporting them, giving them the opportunity to referee. Over the past year, I would say, I personally have taught over 150 people, young people under the age of 18, about the laws of the game. 150. We have never had that number of young people involved in refereeing in my lifetime. How do I keep them? If I can keep 10%, If I can keep 10%,
That's plus.
That's a big plus, especially because Earl, I'm getting older. It's almost time for me to stop. Some people would say it was time for me to stop 10 years ago, but it's almost time for me to stop.
Right.
And this is why I'm enjoying being an instructor now, because I'm watching their eyes light up when you tell them what I've done for the past 30 years.
Right.
So that's exciting to me.
When you look around, because we're in the region, the Caribbean region, and I've noticed even the instructors from Jamaica, when they come here, they talk about the significance of having so many young people now involved, that the other countries should emulate and follow our lead.
Yes.
But how long do you think it would take for us to be that dominant force in officiating around this region?
I think we're leading already. Other countries have larger pools of referees.
Yes.
Because refereeing for them is a way out. In Bermuda, refereeing wasn't considered. Refereeing is one of those things you do in your spare time.
Right.
It's not considered as one of our opportunities for advancement. What we're teaching our young people is this is opportunity for advancement. You can go anywhere. When I tell them that we're expecting Tashawn to be at a World Cup final in 8 years, 2026, we want him at a World Cup final. All of a sudden, we have a goal. We've got something that we can achieve, and we know we can do it. We got today, he's on our CONCACAF international referees list.
Right.
That's important. So now we've got to follow that up. So how many teams can we put on an international list? We can become dominant because CONCACAF as a region needs to be able to put referees at a World Cup final.
Yes.
We've had several. Most people don't know we've had several, but we've had several.
Right.
Our Caribbean nations, what the OCFU has put referees at a World Cup final.
Yes.
So it's not unusual for us. While our coaches are working on getting our players and developed,
Right.
what our job as instructors, and we have a team of instructors, Mr. Lyndon Rayner, Mr. Martin Wire, Mr. Garrick Swingson, and myself, and a great set of assessors. What we're doing now is we're just trying to make sure that our refereeing standard is as high as it can possibly be, which is tough in a domestic football environment.
Yes.
Simply because the expectation at an elite level is so much higher than we get to train at. And we consider our Sunday football is domestic football, and we try and do our best at domestic football.
Right.
And we try and keep the level of expectation at our elite level, not at our domestic level.
Right.
So it's an expectation for the Tashans, the Mateos, the Antoines, the Seths and Stephans. We expect them to operate at the elite level.
Yes.
We expect that of them, and we demand it of them because they're the ones that are going to progress. Those are the ones that we're going to put on a list. Those are the ones that are going to travel internationally. We're looking to start an exchange program with other CONCACAF countries.
Right.
So that we can go. Tashawn's just coming back from Canada having refereed their cup games.
Yes.
He's 24. He's 24.
Right.
And the reports that we got back were, thank you. He was good.
Right.
And if he can be good, anybody can be good.
Right.
Because we know where he came from, and we know how hard we had to push him, and we know how hard we push him now.
Right.
He's a great ambassador for the game.
Right.
But he's not the only ambassador that we can produce.
Right.
We're looking to produce a cadre of international referees that get phone calls from FIFA and say, this is your next assignment.
Right.
That's what we're looking for.
Right. And to be honest, I mean, the names you just called off, it's not far stretched.
No.
I've seen these guys operate at a high level, regardless of what game they've done or doing domestically. I've seen them, how they communicate, how they operate. And I think, given time when they become of age, because that's
where we are.
Yes. When they become of age, I think that will actually help us make that extra step. Because we look at, we've hosted CONCACAF matches here, and we often see people from Jamaica or people from Mexico or people from Venezuela, all around the Caribbean, CONCACAF region to come in to officiate. And I often look around and say, why not us?
Why not us?
And
why not us?
We've already started that.
Yes.
And I mean, when you watch Tashan talk to 30 kids, 30 plus kids, what are you seeing in the kids' eyes?
I actually see the anticipation and expectation because they know Tashan.
Right.
Tashan is only that far in front of them.
Yeah.
So they look and they go, oh, if he can do it, well, maybe I can. But on the other side is watching Tashan talk to them.
Right.
He talks to them from a position of authority now.
Right.
And you can see his character development and change from when we first started.
Right.
It's now, and yes, he does have a lot of pressure on his shoulders, but when you see the kids look at him and ask him questions and say, are you serious? For real? Of course, when he tells them, listen, I went down and I did a week of football and they paid me $1,500 and they put me in a first class hotel and they send me my uniforms, and then you begin to see what's going on. They're beginning to understand, if he can do it, I can do it. And they can. We have 17 laws, Earl. It's just 17 laws.
Yes.
We play a 90-minute game of football with 17 laws, and most of them are around the accessories of the game.
Right.
We have 2 laws that really mean anything. That's 11 and 12 for what a referee has to do. And if they can learn those and apply them consistently and get the big decisions right, they can go to a World Cup final. That is the epitome of what we're looking for. We're not going to be satisfied until we're putting referees on a regular basis at World Cup qualifiers, at Olympic qualifiers, in Gold Cup finals matches. That's our goal.
Right.
As instructors and as a country and as a referee committee, that's our goal. And it's not that far off.
Right. How long does it take you to become an assessor? You know, with Victor and these guys coming in, how long is that process?
We want our assessors to have been around the game. We want our assessors, an assessor doesn't necessarily have to have played.
Right.
It is better if they've played because you understand the nuances of the game. But we want our assessors to be around the game 5, 6, 7, 8 years at the top level, so that you can ask a referee, well, why did you make that decision? Because we have to know the law better than they know the law, so that we can ask them, well, why did you make that interpretation of the law? So that we can hear their reason, so that we can adjust and adapt and make them better. So when we say we want our assessors been around the game, we've actually got a couple of assessors that have been around the game, never played at the highest level, but been around the game enough to know, well, hold on, I can ask them that question because I know what I'm looking for. We sit in an assessor's course literally every 6 months, just to get the updates, just to understand, well, what are we looking for? Because most people don't know that every so often FIFA changes an interpretation of how we're going to manage something. We have to know that. As an instructor, I have to know that. Then when I instruct, I have to also be able to assess that.
Instruct and apply.
Yes. And that is, for us as assessors, we're critical. And some referees can't handle that critical nature. But we have to be critical. When I tell Tashan, well, why'd you do that? He listens. He doesn't like it sometimes, which is okay. But then I go back, what's the next one? Did he apply what I gave him? So as an assessor, which we need more of, so that we can assess, literally, we want to assess every premiership match every week. So that we have a database built of what's going on, how our assistants are doing.
Is a referee consistently getting this right? Is he considered getting this wrong? Okay, I understand.
So that, because when we come in as instructors, we can then go, this is what we've seen over the past 2 weeks. Here's how we're going to adjust it so that we can then begin to apply it again. And so that for us is how, as assessors, we begin to work. And believe it or not, our assessors, 3 of our assessors are premiership referees.
Right.
And those same 3 assessors are also instructors.
Right.
So we're trying to adjust these things. I personally am trying to move away from refereeing.
Right.
Because I've done it long enough. I've done it at the highest level. I'm good. I want to assess and I want to instruct. When you sit in front of 32 young people and you can light their eyes up about football, about a game that they play from the referee standpoint, that's the exciting part. When you can teach an Amari and a Seth and a Mateo, when you can teach them the nuances of how you manage a football game, how you get through some tough situations, how you get the big calls right consistently. Those are the exciting things for me now. I can't wait. We have to give a whole lot of respect to all of my mentors. We just lost one. And we think about how he used to teach us. George O'Brien Sr. would literally come after every game and go, "This is what I saw." And then come back and go, "I saw you change it. I saw you fix it." That's the type of brotherhood that we have as referees. We're the people that have been before us have set a great path. We're trying now to just expand it. We're looking forward to the Tashans and his generation to make it even better. I'm looking forward to seeing those 32s, 10 of them come out and be, senior referees. Let me get 6 or 7 of them on a list, and that is the point of why we do this.
When talking about assessing, obviously everybody has a different angle.
Yes.
What angle you might have might be a better angle than the referee, but should assessors be looking above? Should they be looking ground level?
We tell all of our assessors that you have to be above the game. You have to be able to see the entire field at all times, because you're not just assessing the referee, you're assessing the 2 assistants. So you have to be able to see them. And the questions then become not "you got that wrong," but "why did you make that decision in this case?" So that you can hear the answer. Because if the answer comes back correct, you agree with the referee. If the answer comes back, there's something that has to be adjusted, then you teach the referee. So we like our assessors to sit high so they can look over. We're now using some technology to just get some videotape, because it's easy to show a referee,
"Oh yeah, definitely.
this is what you did, explain why you did it," rather than, "Okay, in minute 58, you made this call. What were you thinking at the time?" We do that, however, we do it, and our referees are very, very good at responding, and they're very, very good at changing. Simply because they know all we're trying to do is make them better. We've been around the game. We were joking the other day about all of our instructors. We've got over 150 years of football.
Come on. Oh, football. Football. Yeah. That's a little different.
Yeah, we got a lot of years of refereeing there too. That experience is now being transferred. Because honestly, referee, you get better at being a referee the longer you do it, because you face things. You'd be surprised some of the things that we face in football, like you'd never see it. The law talks about it, and you tell the referees, well, maybe you'd never see this happen, and you can be guaranteed in 2 weeks it happens. And everybody goes, well, you guys just taught us that, so we know how to handle it. Those are the things that we as instructors are trying to do, we as assessors are trying to make sure, because we are trying to raise the level of domestic refereeing in this country. Simply because our teams are getting better coached. They're playing better football. New situations are going to come up. You can see the change in our domestic football. It's now easier to know what's going to happen, how to anticipate it, because we've seen these teams play year after year after year after year. They've developed a style. They've developed a personality. If you understand the style and personality, you can ref the game a whole lot easier. And so we're no longer dealing with the law of the game. The laws are 17 laws. We know what they are. It's now talking about match management, referee psychology. How do you manage your men? How do you manage your ladies on the field? because it is a relationship game. If you have a great relationship with your teams, or you have a relationship with your teams, they know what's coming and what you expect,
right.
and then you also know what to expect.
Right.
And the respect level comes after you build that sort of relationship.
When can we look forward to the next youth referee course?
I've been advised that we have another one coming soon at the next break. So I believe you can contact the BFA office, and the next school break will be another youth referee course.
And that is next week.
Yes, yes, apparently it is. Apparently it is, yes.
Well, I want to thank you for your time and insight on youth refereeing, and we look forward to bigger and better things happening with the referee side of Bermuda football, because referees, officials are very important to the game.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And that's it for Referees Corner right here on Islandstats.com. Enjoy your night.